What's up everyone? Coach Zach, Silver Bullet Fitness, coming to you with another video on your road to your first client as a personal trainer. So in our last video, I spoke about doing our consultation and kind of the essence of what that consultation looks like. I told you that in the next video, we're gonna do a full consultation to kind of give you an idea of what it should look like or what you can do in the consultation to get the best success at signing a client. So today I've got Coach Kira here, who's also part of Silver Bullet Fitness, and we are going to go through a simple consultation. Now, I must say that even in this is the most ideal and optimal environment. We're both trainers, so we're gonna give trainer type responses. So you gotta be ready to kind of deal with obstacles that are gonna come about when you're dealing with the general population. And this video is also intended for general population because athletic consultations look a lot different, and there may be a video on that in the future as well. Okay, so Kira's gonna act as my client, my prospective client, and we're gonna assume that you're either in a gym or even maybe over the phone. There are different ways that this can go, and there's different ways that you can utilize these same techniques to achieve a good consultation. So the first thing I like to do is I like to make it their party. So Kira's walked in, Kira's, she has no idea what I look like. I told her, guy with ponytail, so we meet up each other, and the first thing I want to do is welcome Kira, I'm so glad you're here today. It's so amazing that you're taking this next step in your fitness journey. This is awesome. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to go.
Boom, beautiful. A lot of times you don't get such a great, response, but it does happen that way, and that's what you're looking for. So in the beginning of consultation, if you're in a corporate, like a public gym, I do like to put people on a treadmill. So I do like to put them on a treadmill to get, you've seen Hot Wings? Not Hot Wings, Hot Ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of do the same thing. Get them all hot and sweaty and make it hard for them to talk, and then they'll kind of answer your questions a little bit better. But for the purpose of this, if I'm in my own private studio, we would normally be sitting, but we're gonna stand for this portion. So get you on the treadmill, you're walking at that point, and what we normally do, thank you, what we normally do is we would start to ask kind of lifestyle questions. Roll back, critical, hold on. We would start with a PAR-Q. So normally we would start with a PAR-Q, we get through the actual health assessment to make sure that they are cleared for exercise. Typically speaking, if they're inside of a gym, they're typically already cleared for exercise in some way, shape, or form, but you never know, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of things in case they haven't gotten cleared. But then we'd start going into the health stuff and the lifestyle stuff. And this is when we start to build rapport. So before we jump into just, okay, how much weight do you want to lose, right? Prejudging you need to lose like 12 pounds, let's get that going.
Let's go.
Yeah,
all of it.
all of it. Which you'll hear that too, and it's usually, those are kind of the worst clients, but that's for another time. But the reality of it is that before we start doing the prejudging and doing that, we want to build rapport. And to do that, we're going to start asking questions in a kind of motivational interview way. So I'd start with, Kira, what changes are you looking to make, if any, by coming in today?
Losing body fat and gaining more muscle.
Okay. So you want basically the best of both worlds, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's a common response you're going to get. They want to lose fat, build muscle. You want to be like She-Hulk, or do you want to get massive, or no?
Yeah, She-Hulk sounds really good.
So basically, we want to just start by asking some open-ended questions that allow the conversation to move appropriately. Like, what changes are you looking to make? What struggles have you been having lately? And we want to just kind of talk a little bit about them just in the moment of being there. And that helps to get them to kind of open up to you and understand that you are the authority in the topic at the time. Next thing we typically do is, I like to start talking about other things, like talk to me about work. These are lifestyle questions. So, you work, how many days a week do you work?
5 days a week.
5 days a week. What time do you get off of work?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. What time do you get up in the morning?
7.
7, cool. So this helps us to identify their schedule, understand how much time they can commit to training. And when you're doing this, you don't want to just be kind of like looking for answers, transactional answers, so that you can say, okay, cool, so you get off at 5, so that you want to really try to understand what their job does to them and what that means. So when they talk, you want to do reflective listening, but you also want to be personable as well. So what do you do for work, 9 to 5?
I work at a insurance company.
Insurance company. Wow, insurance company. We talking about health insurance or life insurance?
Life insurance.
Did you know that when you get life insurance and your spouse doesn't tell you, you've got like a 99% chance of being murdered? See, that's just a joke, but that's the point is you want to be friendly, you want to get things moving for them, and you just want to talk to them about their life and their family, understand what their support structure looks like, and you want to just get to know them beyond the point of, I want to get you to spend money with me. You want to go beyond that. You want to be a friendly resource to them, because if they don't sign with you today, there's a chance they may sign with you in the future. So you want to make sure that you're not just trying to push them into that box of selling. You really want to build genuine rapport with them, smile, laugh, have a good time, because that's what training is going to be with them. If you're with them for 6 to 9 to 12 months, you're going to want to know about them. And it's good to start there, because they may not be comfortable with the whole gym environment. So we would go through the whole lifestyle questions and ask about, how's work, boom, 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 family, spouse, so on and so forth. And then we'd get into nutrition. Now, as a personal trainer, it's usually recommended that you don't write full meal plans, but it is good to get a nutritional lifestyle understanding of your client. So I would say simple things like, do you skip breakfast like every other American?
Yeah, sadly.
Okay, and I'd say run me through a day of eating. Give me your best day of eating, what you would consider your best day of eating.
All right, my best day of eating would be yogurt and blueberries in the morning with honey, maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter. Lunch would be a half a sandwich and soup, and then dinner would be chicken, rice, and broccoli on a good day.
Disgusting. Cool, awesome, good. Again,
basic.
Jokes, right? Now tell me what a bad day looks like. What does a bad day of eating look like?
Yeah. Bad day looks like pancakes, eggs and bacon.
Great. Delicious.
For lunch, probably a nice big bowl of ramen.
Disgusting. Okay.
And then for dinner, probably bacon cheeseburger and french fries.
Great. Fantastic. Yeah, that's a bad day of eating.
Can't forget the dessert either.
Can't forget that. Yeah. Yep. Sometimes a bad day of eating for people may be something as grotesque as that. Of course, jokes. But may also be something as simple as like, oh, well, I miss meals. I don't eat enough, right? And this is you just getting an understanding of kind of what their nutritional trend looks like. And it helps you to decipher whether they're telling you the truth or not. Because we know that if you are carrying 200 extra or 100 extra pounds of weight and you're telling me that all you eat are salads and Greek yogurt, we know that there may be some things that maybe they're not comfortable with talking about yet, and we're going to need to break through that as time goes by. Asking other questions can help too, like, hey, have you ever been on a diet or done a nutrition plan? Is that something you've ever done before?
Probably one I've seen on the internet before.
Okay. How did that work?
Not so good.
Okay, that's good. But when you did it like hurt you?
No.
Okay, so you're not like resistant to trying something new, right?
No.
Okay, cool. So you would, if I put you on some sort of different way of eating, would you be comfortable trying that?
Yeah, I'd be comfortable trying it.
All right, cool. And I would stress like, hey, nutrition is going to be really important when we train together, because, if you train with me 3 days a week or 2 days a week, you're going to be eating 7 days a week. So the nutrition is going to be really important, and that's how you're going to be able to tackle it outside of the gym while I can tackle it inside the gym. So when we train together, nutrition is going to be a really key component for you. So by about this time, you've had a good long conversation with them. You're being very personable. You can try to interject. It depends on the client. Sometimes they might ask you questions, and you want to let them do most of the talking. I did a lot of the talking here just because I'm trying to instruct you, and she's not a dummy, but a dummy in the situation. But typically, you want to do kind of the 80-20 rule. You want your client to spend more time talking than you're talking. So there may be plenty of opportunities that you could show them your expertise and be like, they say, oh, I have this like leg issue, and I have this hip issue, I have this knee issue, and you can go, well, listen, the patella, let me tell you all about it. But you don't really want to do that. What you more or less want to do is go, okay, so you have some knee problems, some quad issues? Okay, all right. And if the conversation goes dead, then you can say things like, I definitely understand that. In my experience, here's what I like to focus on to solve some of that pain. Here's some interesting stuff you may not have heard of. And that helps to give a little bit of insight into what you know, but you don't want to fill the whole conversation with you and what you know, because in reality, they can find that information in other places, and they haven't done that yet. So what you want to do instead instead is you want to make them feel as though they're comfortable speaking with you and you have their best interest in mind. When you tell them that, oh, your knee problem, I can solve that instantly, you're undoing the years or months of pain they've been in, and that doesn't make them feel like you're on their side, even if you are the ultimate person on their side. They sometimes just want to get it out and express it in a place that is not going to be judged or not going to be told, well, you can just fix it, okay? So after that, I would typically go into the expectations, right, of what we're going to do. I may do that at the beginning. I may do that at the end. It just depends on where we're at in the conversation. So let's say I did it in the beginning. It would be, hey, super happy to have you here. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a brief conversation about your life, figure out what's going on with you. And then afterwards, I'm going to throw you through a light workout because I want to test your body. I may do that early and I may reinforce it afterwards and go, all right, fantastic. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go get a little light workout in. We're going to just test some movement patterns. I want to see your squat, hinge, pull, push. I really want to see how your body is functioning so that when I write you a program, I know it's designed specifically for you and I'm not just taking it from out of the blue, but also I want to make sure it's going to fit in your time schedule and everything else like that. And I also want to make sure that what we're doing for you actually translates into your everyday life. So I love doing bicep curls. I love getting guns. It's really cool. But if you've got like kids and you want to be on the floor with them, the guns, I mean, it'll help pick them up, but the guns aren't really as important as squatting and hinging and other things like that. And so we're going to go through a light workout. I'm not going to try to kill you today because if I kill you today, you're not going to come back tomorrow, and that's not within my intention. And then from there, we would normally move over to wherever we would go to do the consultation. Now, in the next section here, we are actually going to do a full consultation, and I'm going to have the listed exercises on the screen as well. You can do the consultation in any way that you want to. This is just one of the ways that I feel works best for me when I'm trying to deliver value to the client and also get their heart rate up a little bit and learn what movement patterns and imbalances they might have, and also have a little fun with them as well. Okay, so you've got the client ready to start their workout, and you are working on looking over their movement patterns. And so I like to start, now if they can or can't get off the floor, that's different, of course. These these ideas, these exercise ideas are just ways that I like to do it because it's low impact on the body. It's going to give me all the information that I need. And so if they can't get off the floor, can't get up and down, then of course skip certain things. To give you an example, we're going to do a push. We're going to check her push in a little bit, and of course not everybody can do push-ups. Most people can't do push-ups, so you got to kind of figure that out. Progress and regress it based on what the client, meet the client where they are is the idea. So that's kind of what we want to do. Now, no matter what, whenever you're doing any of these things, we want to try to add some sort of like trainer engagement to make it fun because, yeah, this is the first time doing this, so you want to kind of make it a little bit fun. So again, be lively, be fun, and answer questions. Be prepared to answer questions as they ask them. And if they don't say anything at all, ask them to ask you questions. Like, hey, got any questions for this? Does this make sense? Kind of to show them a little bit more. So I normally always start with what I believe is the world's greatest everything. So world's greatest warm-up is the bird dog. My clients know me for bird dogs. I can just point to the mat and they'll go bird dogs, genuinely, because that's what I do so often. So we're going to go ahead and have Kira do some bird dogs for me, and we're going to do some bird dogs with some perturbation. So to make it a little fun, a little client and trainer engagement. So what I'm going to have you do, Kira, is I'm going to have you do a static hold bird dog, okay? And always make sure that if you're doing anything like this and if you are going to touch the client, that you ask for permission multiple times. 'Cause sometimes they don't hear you and they might just say yes. So ask multiple times. So I'll say, all right, Kara, let me go ahead, and we're testing your core today. So here's what I want you to know about the core. It's time for some good information. Is that the core is kind of the lower lumbar hip pelvic complex, not just the abs like a lot of people think it is. And so what I'm actually testing here more than your abs is I'm actually testing your hip stability. So let me go ahead and get a bird dog from you, please. Good, beautiful. All right. Nope, let's go and hold it. Let's static hold it for me. Yeah, that's good. And I'm going to go ahead and push on you a little bit. Is that okay? All right, cool. So I want you to resist my hand. Resist me. Resist me. Resist harder. Good. That should be activating that core a little bit. Good, rest, good. We're gonna do it again, same side. Go ahead. And I'm gonna push you again, and I want you to resist. Resist harder. And good. We're gonna do one more of those. And this time what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push you, I want you to resist, and I'm gonna let you go. And I want you to catch yourself, okay? All right, let's go ahead. All right, boom, ready? Yep, resist, 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 and good. There we go. Let's do it again. Resist, 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 and catch. Good, beautiful, good, and rest. So that is one great way of doing like a fun little bird dog activity. It's gonna help them feel the activation of their core because you're giving them a little bit of a push and you're making them, have to catch themselves. And yeah, I've seen people, kind of, come down a little bit, but it's okay to laugh with them and let them know that it's fun and that's perfectly okay to do. So bird dogs, I typically do like 10 on both sides, maybe do some isometric holds, just try to get them to understand what's going on in the bird dog. Of course, go another bird dog for me. So of course, if they are in a position, yeah, do opposite side. If they're shaking a lot, which she's not right now, obviously, because her core is strong, but if they are, it's usually in their hips. That's usually where they're shaking. You're gonna find that sometimes they don't put their foot up high enough. A lot of times their thumb isn't up and they'll have their wrist turned to the other side. So this is great, and this is one of the ones that we would do. Good, perfect. Good, let's move on to the next one. So the next one, let's say we're gonna do some squats, okay? Now, squats are always a little bit, let's get this camera right. Boom, let's turn this camera. I'm not even gonna edit this out. So squats are always a little bit tricky. There, you're good, you're in shot. I'm not gonna edit that out either. So squats are typically one of the harder things to teach. I'm sure you're familiar with that too, where you got all sorts of issues with squats, depending on their weight, depending on their age, and so on and so forth. So I like to start with a bench squat. That is the easiest way for me. And what I like to do is I like to ask them, I say to them, like, show me what you think a squat looks like, is what I say to them. So let me make sure. Yeah, let's
get a lot of this.
Yeah, scoot you back just a bit. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So that's what you would think a squat looks like, right? Yeah. Show me again what you would think. Give me a worse squat. I know you know how to squat. Yeah, worse.
Like this.
Yeah, right. Kind of doing that kind of thing, right? So the first thing I always say to them is, okay, perfect, that sounds good. I go, not bad. You correct them, but kind of joke, but not bad, but we can do better. So let's go ahead and make the legs a little bit wider for me, just a bit. Let's get those toes out just a hair. You already had them out, so let's narrow them up just a little bit. Good. Less than that. There you go, perfect. Beautiful, good. So now what I want you to do is I want you to think about tracking your knees towards your toes, not in this direction, but I want you to go in the direction of the toes, and let's go ahead and push with the hips first and then squat for me. Good, much better. And up. Good, cool. And again. Good, and you're gonna be looking through this process for issues in the ankles, issues in the knees, issues in the hips, and you just want to keep encouraging them. Good, Kira looks good. Good, this time what I want you to do is I want you to actually come up really slow for me, okay? So I don't want to see you rock and go all the way back down and then up. I want you to hit the bottom and I want you to come up really slow for me. Like, let's go 3 seconds up. Let's really slow it down. Let's go ahead. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. A little slower than that. Let's try again. Good, there we go. Forces the body to activate a little bit more. Of course, your squats look great. One way we can make this fun is we'll go, okay, let me go ahead and let's do about 5, and every time I say up, I want you to come up for me. All right, so go ahead. Up. Yeah, you already know what's coming. Go ahead. Up. Let's go ahead. Good. See, didn't say up, right? So it's silly. It's one of those silly things, but it does help to, once again, alleviate some of the stuff that's going on. And of course, all the while they're doing this, you're helping to build an idea of what their programming needs to look like based on whatever it is going on in their body. Of course, we see a lot of knees coming in, valgus. We see a lot of just bad squats in general.
Their feet, tippy toes,
Lots of bending. And not so much squatting, and we use different cues for that. I like to joke, so I do low bar squat. I think you're a high bar squatter, but I like to tell people, like, I make this joke all the time, and you don't have to, I go, if you're a bear in the woods, does a bear, go in the woods? If you're a bear in the woods and you're trying to avoid your shoes, how would you do it? And so I show them, I go, I would avoid my shoes like this, as opposed to, doing this, because that's not gonna avoid my shoes. Or I say things like, if you're gonna lift a really big ass boulder, how would you do it? Would you do it like this, or would you do it like this, right? I just gotta show them the functionality of their low back into their glutes. Good, beautiful. Squats look good, and always reconfirm with them that something looks good. Like, boom, squats look great, that's fantastic. Or, hey, squats are looking a little tricky. Definitely something we're gonna wanna work on for sure. How do you feel about your squat? Yeah, and then that's when they usually, I didn't think about it, or,
I thought it would it's normal.
Oh, I thought it was normal. Or no, and a lot of times they'll be like, oh no, that feels so much better. Like, or they're afraid of their knees. Like, well, when I squat, I feel it in my knees. Like, okay, how do you feel it now? Oh, it feels a lot better, right? And we can try to add value there. So this is the part where the rapport building has been done and you are now adding value to their exercises. So typically I like to go through, like I said, a bird dog, go through a squat pattern, do a pull pattern. So take a band, just do some simple pulling. We'll do a push pattern as well. And then other times we'll do a hinge as well. I'm gonna skip the pull today. Lots of people can pull pretty easily. You don't always need to obviously use a cable pulley or something like that. A lot of it is just trying to make them stop using their arm and use their back a little bit more. But we're gonna do a push instead, and we're gonna look at what a push looks like and how I would regress a push. So let's go and get in the position for a push-up for me. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down right here. Shaky cam, shaky cam, shaky cam. Okay, beautiful. Kira's not warmed up right now, but that should be perfectly okay. So in the event that a person cannot do a push-up, which is pretty regular, Kira, give it a push-up just for the fun of it, just because I know you can. It's a good push-up. All right, cool. So in the event that they can't do a push-up, you could always regress down to the knees, of course. And when you have a person doing a kneeling push-up, and really the only reason you're doing this is you're trying to establish whether or not they have instability in their shoulders. You're trying to establish if they have instability in their core again. And you're also trying to have them challenge themselves for something that they typically are uncomfortable doing. So in the event that they can't do a full push-up, which is very regular, you can have them regress to the knees. So let's go ahead and do a kneeling push-up for me. Go ahead. Good. Which is pretty good, which is tough to do sometimes. A lot of the times, what will you normally see when somebody tries to do that?
Usually their hands are kind of up here.
Yeah.
When you tell them, they're stuck in a tabletop, I tell them to drop their hips.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really understand that concept, so they'll kind of walk their hands out and kind of straighten and come back to this kind of tabletop and kind of get.
Right, exactly. Do that kind of weird tricep, pike push-up kind of thing. Yeah, perfect. The other way that we will regress that, what I like to do is let's go and do an eccentric push-up for me. So what we're going to do is have them come to the top plank position. So up top plank, yep. And then I just want you to come down as slow as you possibly can until you can no longer, and then just put your knees on the ground. And good. Boom, just like that, yep. And then tell them, all right, let's get back to the top, no matter how you have to do it. Good, now you see Kira can do a full push-up there. A lot of times what we normally see is they'd come down, go ahead. And then they would flop about here, yep. And then as they come up, they kind of roll their body up, right? Kind of chest, yeah, it's more the yoga stuff, but that's normally what you would see there. But again, we're trying to challenge them to do something that they're not normally able to do. And we're encouraging them to say, hey, listen, this is something that you are gonna want to do. Good, give me one more just because I'm the trainer and I have to. Yeah, good, and then come back up. Beautiful, rest. Good. And so one of the things you'll find is that when you do a push-up, it sounds like one of those kind of arbitrary things. Like you could use a pushing machine, but a machine's going to tell you not much at all. But when you do something like that, you'll hear things from your clients like, I've always wanted to do a full push-up. You hear that a lot with women, like, I've never been able to do a full push-up. For men, you'll hear the same thing, like, oh, high school, could never do push-ups. And it gives you a moment to be like, okay, is that a goal of yours? And they'll go, yeah, it kind of is. And I go, okay, cool, let's make that happen for you. Let's figure that out. And it's also a good time to flex some knowledge and go, okay, well, you do know a push-up is like 64% of your body weight. So you this much right now? That's not an easy task to push 64% of your body weight up because they think that they should be able to. You can encourage them that, hey, it's okay that you can't, but we're going to work on that. And you're still building up that information to figure out how you're going to program them. Again, the reason I skip the pull is because we typically want to double our pulling with a lot of the clients too, because they are forward rounded a lot because of cell phones and driving. So the pull is usually fine unless they've indicated that they have some sort of physical issue ahead of time. Cool, we're going to step into the last one that I would typically do, which is a hinge. A hinge is a little bit hard to teach because it tends to be a little bit more like a squat to people. But what we're going to do, Kira, if you can grab that kettlebell over there, let's grab the 25. It's behind my tablet thingy. Yep. Beautiful. So we're going to do a kettlebell deadlift, okay? So I'm going to show you how I would cue the kettlebell deadlift. And what you're doing in this moment is you're trying to talk to your client specifically about the hinge of their hips, okay? And you're trying to speak to them about the difference between squatting and hinging and showing them the importance of their lower back and their core and how all of that works together. So here's what I like to do, Kira. I like to have it on the floor already. And if you need to regress this, sometimes you may have to regress it by having, let's say, a plate underneath it because they don't have the range of motion necessary to actually get where they want to go. So the way I would do this specifically is I would say, okay, I want you to go ahead and walk forward until your heels are at the bell. So go ahead and walk forward. That's pretty good because I don't want you to, when you look down, I don't want you to be able to see the bell, okay? Yes, because this is going to force them to feel the need to push their butt back to find the bell, okay? So I say, all right, let's go ahead and push the hips back, bend the knees slightly, find the bell. Good. And now come straight up for me, hips forward, boom, and I want you to put the bell back right where you found it. Good, beautiful. Now you're going to see with a lot of people, their range of motion is going to be low, so they're going to have a hard time getting that bell all the way back. They're actually going to more often put that bell back out in front of them. So if you can go in, yep, So good, pull, yep. And then they'll put the bell kind of right out in front of them in some way. Even sometimes not as exaggerated as that, but they will do it because they don't like the feeling of their hamstrings kind of in that motion, right? That's a tightness that they don't like. Now, this is controversial, and what I'm about to say is going to ruin my career as a personal trainer, but when I cue for the deadlift, the RDL specifically, but the kettlebell deadlift, I don't like to use the word pull as much as I like to use the word push. And the reason I do that is for this reason right here. Let's go ahead. I want you to push your butt back, push, 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 push. Good, and push your hips forward, push, 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 push. So I treat it more like a push than I do a pull in that aspect because it's the easiest way for me to cue them. Now with a traditional deadlift, it's a little bit different, but again, push your hips back, push, 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 push. Good, now push your hips forward. Yep, boom. That's typically how I like to cue for the deadlift, the kettlebell deadlift anyway. And also when you say kettlebell deadlift, you say deadlift to people who are not familiar with deadlifting, it gets them a little nervous, but you can show them the value of you in that moment. You can stop being so stiff. You can show them the value of you in that moment as a trainer to say, hey, your lower back is safe and it's safe with me and I know exactly how to program this that's going to help you in your work. So typically those consultations through the talking and through the workout should only take roughly about 15, 20 minutes. I know it's hard because you want to shove everything in at once. I personally, sometimes my consults have taken an hour because we get to the selling portion of it too, which we're going to cover in the next section. But I do like to try to get through them. I try to get quicker each and every time I do them and have more value in them. So go over the movement patterns with them, put them through a light workout, then recap. How's the body feeling right now?
Feels good.
Feels
nice
good.
Warmed up.
Cool. Awesome. Good. Good.
Ready
Now,
to see what else is in store.
now listen. You may feel a little bit of pain later because we may have woken up some muscles with those squats and with the bird dogs. You may be in a little bit of pain later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to you tomorrow and just make sure that you're not in too much pain. Because if you're cursing my name, I'm going to hear it. So I want to make sure that you're okay.
Well, you'll hear it from me. Don't worry.
And this is a great way to like let them know you're going to follow up with them no matter what. So boom, we've done all that. Sometimes you're going to be in a situation too, this is just a little pro tip, sometimes if you get a person like Kira, like if I was doing a consult for someone like Kira who is athletic and already in shape, I'm actually going to try to crush her during that consultation. Not crush her, kill her, but I am actually going to put her through some pretty intense stuff during that consultation to show her the value of me and to make her feel like she got a good workout. The worst feeling you have is when you do this whole thing and then they go, okay, I'm gonna go work out now. And you're like, that's a little weird. So you wanna try to ride that line a little bit to try to get them a little tired, but not so much that they're gonna be in a lot of pain later. But with someone like Kira, I'd have her doing step-ups to check her knees and her toe and her ankle patterns. I would be having her do some squat jumps and things of that nature to check how her body responds to it. I would be doing a little bit more intense stuff in an effort to get her to see more of the value and feel like she got a workout. So recap, how you feeling? You feel good, that's fantastic, awesome. So listen, I've looked at all your movement patterns. So far, I've seen some things we need to work on. There's some other things that I think you're doing great at. But because of that, we're going to need to take some time to program this out. So I kind of have an idea of how I want to program you, and I want to talk to you about that in a second. Mixed with the nutrition and mixed with the way your body's moving right now, you are 100% ready for this. So I am super excited to get rocking and rolling. So all we got to do now is we just got to talk about what it looks like.
All right, let's get to it.
Beautiful. And what it looks like for us is how long, how many sessions per week. I'm not talking about price yet. And so let's go ahead and jump into the selling conversation. All right, so you finished doing the consultation, you've built rapport with them, and building the rapport is going to allow you to be very empowered in this conversation because they've told you a lot about themselves. In the event that they haven't, consultations can sometimes be a little bit weird, but they've probably told you a lot about themselves. I've had clients cry in consultations before. I've had clients cry in non-consultations, and not even clients, just gym goers. And so this gives you a lot of rapport building. We'll call it leverage. It doesn't sound good as leverage, but it is leverage because if they come with objections, you know the things that they've told you, the things that they feel hold dear to them, and you can remind them of those things and remind them of the reasons they came in if they're going to have objections to price. And they're only ever going to have real objections to price, not so much time because they took the time to come out in the first place. So a lot of it's going to be objections to price, and it might be objections to commitment as well. Those are the two major objections. And I am a big believer in making sure they're committed. So I'm going to show you what that sales process sometimes looks like. Remember, this is ideal. Kira, I pay her, she doesn't pay me. So this is ideal, but this is kind of the way we look at it. So I'd say, okay, all right, Kira, so body's feeling good, awesome, you know, maybe a little sweat, a little water. All right, cool. So based on what I saw out there, you're trying to lose X amount of weight at this time. You want to build some muscle. We know that this takes time. Okay. We also know that the books tell us that you should work out about 150 minutes per week. So because of that, what I believe we should do, it best suit you, is we should do 2 days a week. Okay, and I think we should do 60-minute sessions. That's going to be the best case scenario for you. That's going to allow me to program an effective kind of full body workout for you that's going to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve. At this time, I'd normally break that program down just a little bit. I'd say, to give you an example, what I'd like to do to start out is I like to do like an upper-lower split just to get started. Focus on the upper body and the lower body for 2 days. That way we can kind of de-rust you, get you through the soreness and the recovery stages, teach you the form of everything. And then from there, I would like to increase that to maybe a full body in 1 day, and then a full body second day. We kind of increase that to HIIT, and just keep pushing the intensity to see if we can reach what you're trying to reach. That's very general, that's very basic. If she had different goals in mind, we might be doing something different. And I'd say also, what we're gonna do during those times, we're gonna really focus on trying to build you to compound lifting, and then your accessory days, kind of like your arms and other things like that, I'll probably leave for you to do on your off days, because that's gonna be less commitment and a lot easier for you to do in terms of form and function. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Cool, awesome. So get the confirmation, all sounds good, they like what you've done. You go, okay, so at that point you're like, hey, this is what I think we should do, and then you hand them your pricing sheet, or you tell them your price depending on what they ask. So in this instance, I'd say, okay, I'd slide the sheet over. I recommend that you do the 6-month option with me for 2 days a week, and let's say that comes out to be like $850 a month per se, okay? And then as I'm sliding it over, I just sit there and look at her.
You don't have anything cheaper than that?
What we do, absolutely, you can see we have the 1 day, we have the other things, well, we also have the 30 minutes. However, we do have things cheaper, but do you really want a cheaper experience out of me, or do you want the whole thing that I'm giving you right now? And that's just as simple, right? You're arguing a little bit, but that's direct. I would also say something like, well, you know, cheaper is great, right? But remember, you told me that you have all of these things that you're trying to accomplish, okay? And here's the thing, like, cheaper doesn't always get the results that we want. And the truth is remember, I'm going to give you your off-day workouts. We're working on your nutrition as well. So I can give you cheaper, but you're going to get a cheaper product out of it as well. And based on all the things you told me, this is what I, the professional, recommend that you do. And you don't say anything to them. You let them stew in it, because they have to stew in it, because they have to make the decision. That's when you stop, because the first person that talks typically loses in the situation.
So it's going to count for 2 days a week? 2
days a week, yes. So that $800, okay, that you're paying monthly, it's 2 days a week. So you're going to get 8 sessions per month on 4-week months. 5-week months, you might get 10, right? So you're going to get 2 sessions a week. And the reason we bill it this way is because we understand that life happens, and we understand that sickness happens as well. You're going to get sick. I'm going to get sick. I'm not really going to get sick, but you're going to get sick. I'm going to get sick. Or something's going to come up. And here's the thing, we want to make sure that we can service you effectively even on days that are not your scheduled time slot. So we try to work makeup days as well for you in the event that you don't make it in.
What's the limit on reschedules?
So what do you mean by limit on reschedules? You mean how many times you can reschedule with me?
Or if you need to reschedule?
If you need to reschedule, please let me know way in advance. It all depends on the flexibility of my schedule. I will do everything in my power. And I typically leave my weekends open for stuff like that. I'll do everything in my power to get your recovery day, your makeup days in. However, if you're just like taking trips to Africa without telling me or something like that, or you're like chronically wasting the time, we're gonna have to have a deeper conversation, because if you're missing that much, there's probably a reason why. And you don't plan to miss, do you?
Mm-mm. I'm staying committed.
Yeah, and you can understand too why, like, while I'm sitting here taking care of all the work that I'm doing for you, if you don't show up, it becomes a problem between our relationship, and you can understand why it's important that we're both on the same page here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Cool.
But now I see what the value is of this, but not only am I getting a great workout, it's gonna help me get to my goals, but it also includes nutrition and stuff to do on my off days. That sounds great.
Yeah. So this is a great way of showing value. Again, this is just one simple way of doing it. There's other ways. We do another one. Let's do a commitment. So I said we should do 6 months. My contract only has 6 and 12-month options. We should do 6 months, and I think you should do 2 times a week for 6 months.
I think I can handle another day, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
It's going to be more money, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I would say it. She caught me off guard. She's asking for more. Yeah, you could handle a third day, absolutely. So normally what I look at is like 1 day is like giving you medicine, just beat the hell out of you for a day. 2 days is working out. 3 days I look at training. 3 days is going to allow me to create a real genuine split for you. That's going to help us focus more on those accessories as well as the compound. And it's going to give us the ability to add maybe a HIIT day in there, a yoga day in there. It's going to give us way more flexibility, and it's going to take some of the stress off of you of having to get your off day working. Then you can just focus on cardio on your off days.
Okay. And then why is there only 6 month and year options?
So we tend to like to do 6 months in year options because we know how long it takes for the body to make real change and stick to that change. We know changing a behavior takes quite some time. We think that 6 months is proper for the entire body to get exactly what it's trying to get. So it's 24 weeks, and that is a good enough time to do a real, true, long-term, succinct program that's going to give you the most long-term benefit. The thing is, if we do lower than that, you're going to be in a position where we're trying to cram a bunch of stuff in too early, and we can't slow down to give you the best, proper performance that you're looking for. And I don't really like it, the idea of being 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're either in or you're not. And that's kind of why we do the 6 to 12 month.
Is that owed up front, or can I do monthly payments?
You can do paid in full, but typically it is monthly payments. We just take it out of your account, similar to like an insurance payment or similar to like rent or mortgage or anything like that. So you don't have to think about it. It's just coming out of the account, and then it's being paid for the value of each session. Now, I have the value of doing my own billing as well, and so sometimes things do happen. To give you an example, I got sick for 2 weeks, and so those 2 weeks I had to take off. And in those 2 weeks, I asked my clients, hey, do you want to do makeups? Do you want me to send you workouts? All of them were good with that except one. And for one, I said, okay, I will refund you the 2 sessions that I missed. And that is a way that I can manage my billing. Now, if you're in a commercial gym, oftentimes you can't do that. Another great way of doing it is, let's say you're mulling it over pretty heavily, right? So here's a sheet. Here's what I think we should do. This is what me and my clients have found work best for everybody. Boom, boom, boom. Here's what we should do, and you're mulling it over.
I don't think it's gonna work for me.
That's not really mulling over. That's just a direct objection. She doesn't know what mulling. So that's a no for me. Okay, all right, it's a no for you. Okay, I understand. Now I don't know why it's a no just yet. So I go, okay. So real quick, scale from 1 to 10. All right. 1 being you hate my guts and want to punch me right now. 10 being we got a deal. Where are we on that?
I'd say like a 4.
4, okay. Okay, a 4. Tell me why it's not a 1.
Why isn't it a 1?
Yeah.
Probably because I don't really like this price, and I feel like the sessions, you could give me a lot more than just that.
Okay. Like you think that the consult was not fulfilling in that time period? Well, yeah, look, it's a consultation. You know, you told me that you've been deconditioned for the last 3 months. I didn't want to kill you or anything like that. Okay, so you're telling me that it's not a 1, right? It's a 4, but it's not a 1 because you said the price was bad, right? But you didn't tell me why it's good enough to be a 4.
Probably because I'm kind of 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out.
Okay, cool. Tell me what we could do to make it a 10. Like today, we're signing and we're good to go.
You promised me that every time I come in, I get the best workouts ever.
Well, that's easy. That's who I am. That's what I'm known for. I'm me. I'm him. Okay? That'd be the easy. That's a slam dunk right there. Like, you give me the best. Of course, that's what I'm going to do.
I want to sweat every single time.
Easy peasy. Okay, I will absolutely do that for you. But if you come in crying and complaining, you don't want to sweat that day, you can't blame it on me. All right? Oftentimes, if you say what would make it 10, they go back to price. Well, this is just a little expensive for me. Okay, let's say you're at a 0. Like, you're just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You're like, no, I just can't afford this. Okay? Now, depending on where you're at, if you're in a commercial gym, you may not have any room to breathe on that at all. Now, as a personal trainer that I was in a commercial gym, I had some room to breathe, and as a private trainer, I had my own room to breathe too. And I might say something like, okay, well, tell me what would work for you, because sometimes that number, like 800, just might be too much. What would work for you, right?
Probably like 600.
600. So 600 will work for you. So if we do right now 6 months, I get you the full 6 months, 2 days a week, you could do $599 instead of $799.
I'll sign right now.
Now listen, I want you to know I don't do this for most people. So sign right now. Okay, sometimes you got to take a concession when it comes to getting your sales, depending on how good or bad your book is at that point, and that's a perfectly fair thing to do. Same thing, I say, okay, how much, what number would make sense? Give me a ridiculous number, like way too low.
350.
350. So okay, so you believe that 350 should get you 2 days a week, as well as all the rest of this stuff as well. Okay, and then I use a typical analogy. I go, okay, you dress nicely, right?
Yeah, I like to think.
Yeah, you got a nice like blouse or something like that. You know, what do you do with that blouse when you are done using it?
I wash it and hang it in the closet.
Yeah, do you dry clean it sometimes? Maybe steam it a little bit. You take care of it, right? What about your workout shirt? What do you do with that?
Wash it and put it back in the drawer.
You just kind of throw it in the drawer, right? You got to kind of sometimes leave them. But the idea is like, well, listen, if I devalue my price and devalue my service, one, you're devaluing the rest of my clients. But two, you're also not going to be bought in the same way that I'm bought in, because we've just brought my value completely down. So if 350 works for you, it's not going to work for me for 2 days a week, but we do have some options for you. And this is when you can do step downs. We can do 1 day a week, or we can do 30-minute sessions, whatever it is, right? You say, we can do 30-minute sessions. And a response will always come, yeah, but you told me 60 is recommended. 60-minute sessions is recommended. That is the price though. So if we can't do that, we could shoot down to 1 day a week for an hour, or we could do 2 sessions a week for 30 minutes. That way you get more accountability and more touch with me. I push you really hard. You still get the off day workouts, but the price is coming down. How's that sound?
Now I think I want to think about it.
Okay, so you want to think about it. That's another great objection. We'll do that in just a second too. Or say, okay, look, if none of this is working for you, listen, you can't leave here without a plan. You came in, I asked you what you knew, you didn't know anything out there, you barely knew what you were doing, right? Or even if they do know what they're doing, you cannot leave here without a plan, at least for nutrition. And this is your option to do. Here's my nutrition plan that I can sell you. Here is my nutrition guides I can sell you. Here is a static workout plan that I can sell you. So you have different options for them at that point. Always have a step down option, because you have to remind them you cannot leave here without some sort of plan, because I want to see you succeed. It's not that I want to get paid, I do, but I want to see you succeed. And I know, and most of the people in Gen Pop, they're not going to have a plan. So never let them walk out without a plan, because here's what's going to happen. Then you're never going to see them again. And that's more heartbreaking than anything else. Okay, let's go over the I need to think about it route. Okay.
Yeah, I like the options here, but I really think I need to think it over just a little bit more.
Okay. This is a common objection. This is one of the toughest ones to get through, because this is when you start to go from fun helping trainer to pushy salesperson. But this is important. Okay? You need to think about, okay, what's more to think about?
I just want to see if I can afford it, and I got to run it across my spouse.
Got to run it across your spouse, okay? Understand that. Listen, as a married man, I fully get it. Listen, this thing weighs a ton, okay? How about, because here's the thing. Here's what I know, all right? You've told me all of these things. These things are really important to you, and you really want to get this health started. Money is, of course, money, and I can never deny that. Is it possible that you could get him on the phone and talk to him right now?
I don't know. He's working at this time.
He's working at this time? Okay, all right. How about this? How about we do this then? How about, because you're pretty confident you're going to end up coming in and training with me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Why don't we sign this now, okay? You want to get it on paper. Why don't we sign this now? I won't run it, okay? And then you call me tomorrow when you are ready to rock and roll, or I'll call you tomorrow, so on and so forth. How's that sound?
That sounds sounds good.
Good. So we want to get it on paper because we want them to commit to it in writing, even if they're not going to do it, or if they feel like they're not going to do it in that moment, because it helps to solidify that they really do want to do it. They're signing a contract. Credit card information and everything, like they're signing it, they want to do it, but they need to double check. Now, if you're in a real hard spot where it's like, okay, I got to check, I just want to think about it. Okay, so we're back to that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to think about it.
Again, so, okay, you've been out of the gym for a long time, you haven't been coming in, like, how much longer do you need to think about this? We've talked about this thing, we've talked about this thing, like seriously, listen, I've got plenty of clients, that's not the concern here. I'm not trying to, it's not about that. I want to see you succeed. I want to make sure that you're capable of doing the things that you bought the membership with the hope of succeeding in this. I want to see that happen. What more is there to think about?
I don't know. I'll come back in tomorrow, though.
You'll come back in tomorrow. Okay. So you're going to come back in tomorrow. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call you tomorrow. Okay? And if I don't see you come in tomorrow, I'm going to call you and we're going to talk about it, because because I know I can deliver you the proper service that you're looking for. If this is a price thing, then let's talk about that. We can figure that out. If this is a fear thing or a value thing, I got to ask you, like, how many more cycles are you going to go through until you finally pull the trigger on something like this? When are you going to invest in you? Seriously.
I don't know.
Okay, beautiful. So this is a great moment, and this is an important moment as well. You can't bat 1,000. It's not going to happen, right? But what I like to think about, and one of the things that and this is getting controversial, but if you're in a situation with a person, especially in a commercial gym, private gym, a little bit different, but in a commercial gym, this is their fork in the road. You may never see them again. So tell them the truth. It's very important to tell them the truth. Listen, you have been struggling with this for 5 years, what you told me, right? Are you gonna go another 5 years? Like, ignore the money, ignore all that stuff. Like, if I let you walk today and you don't do anything, like, what does that look like? And that breaks my heart, because you look motivated, you came in here, you wanted to do the things, and now we're getting hung up on this? Come on.
All right, I think you sold me there.
But if I didn't, right, at least they walk away thinking about it, because we're trying to affect change in people's lives. And you have to remember that people around them are not telling them the truth. You, as the accountability coach who they come to for the truth, have the option in that moment, even if you just met them, to tell them the truth, especially using the words that they have said. I'm not saying, listen, you fat loser. Like, no, I'm not saying that. It's the fact that they have an opportunity and you're there to provide them a service and you're capable of doing it. So stand strong and stand firm on that, and that's going to get you more sales than not, and it's going to get you more callbacks and more, they're going to actually follow through later on after they get the ducks in the row, more so than just letting them walk away. Because if I get a no, or I don't think I can do this, I just go, okay, good luck. How does that help me? How does that help them? So if our goal is to help them, and of course be paid for what we're worth, we have to make sure that we're able to push hard on them. If I can't push hard on them with the first day I met them, how could I possibly push hard on them 4 months into a contract? It's very important that they understand that you understand that. I'm not pushing that hard. I've pushed hard. I'm not pushing that hard. But at the end of the day, it's important to do that. There are other situations you might get into where, someone really genuinely just does not have the money. They just don't have the money, and it sucks. And you might have to tell them no, or you might have something else that you can do, take some concessions. We'll talk about that in another video on how you can kind of like turn that small problem into a big solution for yourself. But ultimately, asking for the sale is the most important thing. After you've done all that work in the consultation, learned their name, learned everything about them, learned all these different things, then it is your obligation and your right to sit down with them and say, hey, this is what I'm worth. How does that sound? And then you can do other things too. Break it down. 800, that's however much a session. I don't do math. What is it? Know your numbers. That's bad. Know your numbers. It's.
I know. Yeah, it's usually 10, but it could lapse overnight. Well,
know your numbers. So if you're doing know your numbers. If you're doing $800 a month and it's 10 sessions, it's $80 a session. Whatever. Know your numbers. But once you can break it down for them in that aspect, you can also give it to them in bulk. Like, okay, you're going to pay 800 times 6. You're going to pay $2,400 over 6 months, because some people like to do their budget long term and look at it. And even when you do that, you go, it's $2,400. They go, That doesn't sound like that much as opposed to, not 2,400, that's a lie, 4,600. Math?
We don't know math.
We don't know math.
Not today.
Cut that out. 4,600 a month? Even so, 4,600 a month? We don't know math today. It's been a long day.
Yeah, $800, $80 per session for 10.
Yeah.
If it's twice a week for an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank
you for that.
Let's clear about it.
Anyway, see, we're not perfect. Anyway, yeah, well, sometimes you give them the full number too, the full basket. They can look at that and break that down a little bit better in their head too, because sometimes the idea of a recurring payment hurts more than a bulk payment. So that's it for this video. Like I said, I wanted to show you the full consultation from start to finish. We will probably do a revision of this video in the future as well. Maybe we'll have Kira do one with a client on her own. We'll figure some stuff out. But this is the general guideline. This is what I looked for when I was first getting into training. I wanted to understand how to do consultations. And I found this type of information, but a little bit more sped up and a little bit more rushed. So I try to keep it a little bit longer and kind of give a little bit more specific information so you can walk into your consultations with confidence, because they're your bread and butter. They're exactly how you get up to bat and how you're going to get your clients. There are right ways and wrong ways to do it, but hopefully with this video you can get a brief guideline for it. If you like that, please comment, like, subscribe, all the nonsense YouTube stuff that I can't stand saying, but I need to start saying. Go over to silverbulletfitness.me. We have some great resources on there for trainers, like our digital programming sheet, as well as our body caliper assessment sheet as well. We're gonna have some more free resources coming up, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one.